Hello, hello, hello. This is Nicole M. Louie, the Social Worker Strategy Mentor. Today, I'm going to be talking about some things that you're able to do if you are a social worker who's stuck in a catch-22 situation where you're feeling burnt out, you're really tired, you want to take time off of work because too much is going on at work, at home, maybe both, and you just need some time out, but you actually can't afford to do that because you're an agency worker. So if you're an agency worker, this is especially for you. I'm going to be talking about some things that you're actually able to do immediately that is actually going to get you in a position where you will be able to financially afford to do it. But better yet, you're going to actually able to get some reprieve, make some decisions that are actually going to allow you to not feel so burnt out and stressed. Okay. If you hear some noise in the background, I'm so sorry. I'm in a place where there are other people here and there are cooking demonstrations going on and all sorts. So just bear with me. So again, my name is Nicole M. Louie. I'm the Social Worker Strategy Mentor, and I help social workers start and scale their very own business. And I'm working with different people at the moment, some of my mentees, and sometimes things like this come up. And so when I'm sharing with them and helping them move forward, I like to also share with you because I want you to win and I want you to have the right support way ahead of time. So I'm going to be sharing this with you and hope that it's of benefit to you as you move forward. So if you can hear me okay, and if you have any questions, just put it in the comments and I will respond. Okay, so let's get started immediately. So again, the reason why I'm sharing this is because there may be some of you watching this that are agency social workers who would really like to be able to take some time off of work, but you just feel like you don't have the time. You don't have the time, even though you have toil accumulated, but you don't have the space to take it. And you feel under pressure to perform because other people are churning out assessments, and you might be lagging behind and you're feeling quite stressed about not being able to keep up and do the same. And so it makes you feel kind of as though you're not doing your best work and you're worried about how that makes you look. And so you might be in a space where you just want to take time off and a reprieve and kind of get away from it. You may even feel that you want to sidestep, but you're not even sure into what. You may also feel that you just want to pack the whole thing in because you've had enough. And right now you just don't have the headspace for social work at all. If you're fitting any one of those criterias, then the first and foremost, the thing that I want you to be thinking about is understanding that you need to be taking a different journey. If you are in that space, then you need to actually be starting your journey into the new direction. Now, whether that direction is full independence, whether it is sidestepping into a previous career that you had or a previous love for work or particular area of the industry or even outside of the industry, that may be what you have to do. The other thing that I want you to consider in that is that from an emotional standpoint, I want you to always think that you are actually doing the work. You have taken the step, you are making the journey, and that has to hold you, right? That has to hold you. That has to resonate with you so that you understand you're not just working and it's stress and it's always going to be like this, because it's not. That's the season that you're in, and that season is not going to last. Okay. It's not going to last. It's for a moment, and you have to be able to ride the wave. And so you're going to need to utilize strategies to build your emotional resilience. You're going to need to use strategies that will improve and increase your emotional intelligence. And you're going to have to do some other things that will allow you to just cope, right? Psychologically. So that's the first thing. If you are somebody who has not actually started your journey, and this is something that came up for one of my mentees, and so I had to take her through this process that I'm doing with you now. And we went a lot deeper, of course. We had an entire hour together. You're going to probably have about 15 minutes with me. But we had a whole hour session, if not more, on this. But I want you to know that if you have not yet started your journey to independence or sidestepping or looking at whatever it is that you feel you need to do, exiting and actually making, and that journey may be as simple as making a plan, sitting down, figuring out what you want to do, putting pen to paper. And I really believe in putting pen to paper. Don't just think it in your head. It has to be verbalized, pen to paper. Speak with your family, your partner, whoever it may be, and actually get that done and actually take action on it. If you are somebody who has not yet done that, then that's going to be causing a huge part of the emotional stress that you're feeling, because you know you have nothing to go to. So you are going to feel stuck. Yeah, the way you feel kind of you feel kind of trapped, you feel overwhelmed, you feel like you're not sure which direction you're going to go in, you feel like this is never going to be different and it can't be different, you feel as though it's never going to end, and you feel quite alone, because social work is something that if you're a social worker you get it, but if you're not a social worker it's really hard. Even if somebody's in teaching, which is really busy, or other fields, like being a social worker is like, it's different. My social work's not I'm talking about. So, right, you want to have people that really understand. And so you want to talk to those people, you want to have conversations. But if you have not started your journey, that is going to really intensify the negative feelings that you are having. And so I want you to actually start the journey. That may be having a conversation with me. It may be having a conversation with somebody else, whether that's your partner, as I said, or a friend, or sitting down by yourself and putting a list together of what are the things that I need to be dealing with and sorting out to get me to that next stage. Once you've started that journey, then that is what you need to be always going back to and reminding yourself that you are on a journey, and so this is not going to last. Okay, so that's the first thing. And the reason why you might think, well, how does this fit with actually being able to afford to take time off? Because you're always going to be in this situation as a social worker. It's never going to change. So if you are in a space where you're really thinking about, you know, what do I do? Do I want to continue this? That's a real thing. So there's no point in ignoring that and just band-aiding it with thinking about, okay, well, let me just take some time off and go back to it. This may be something that you actually need to really pursue by leaving for full independence, or exiting completely, or sidestepping. That's the reality. So I wanted to put that as first, because I want you to not really ignore that and skim over that. So that's the first thing. So the second thing, as far as being able to afford to take time off when you really need it, is increasing your financial literacy, being able to really consistently manage your money. So one of the things that I teach my mentees is how to use percentages to save every month. Most agency social workers don't do that. We'll take all the gross and we'll do other things with it. But remember, what your agency will do is take a portion of sick pay, pension, and holiday pay, and they will hold it for you. And oftentimes we'll say, no, I'll take that, thank you very much, which is cool to do. But then what I want you to do is have a percentage that you decide on, that you feel comfortable with, that whenever that money comes in, you put a percentage of that money, that total gross that you got in your hand, towards your saving, your holiday, and whatever. This is something, as I said, that I teach my mentees, and I teach them all the other percentages that they need to have, because your money needs to have a place to go, every penny. And so it's really nice to see pots of money and all your savings accounts with all the different money building up as you move forward. So that's one thing. The other thing is really getting clued up and understanding how to make your investments, where to invest, the best kind of savings accounts. Is saving accounts like ISAs really worth it even? And maybe there might be more beneficial ways of being able to save and put your money, thinking about putting it in property, and also thinking about how you can increase your income. Now, I've already done a live stream about easy ways social workers can increase their income. So you can go ahead and have a look at that, or you can ask for that in my DM or in the comments, and I can send a link to that. But understand your finances and improving upon that, and understanding what you can do to really increase your income really helps. The other thing that you want to be able to do is, and I mentioned it before, is maybe think about sidestepping. If you want to take time off doesn't always look like having complete days off where you are either signing yourself off sick, which may be a thing you need to do, or saying I'm taking toil or holiday. It may actually be sidestepping into something completely different. When I needed a break from local authority work, that's exactly what I did. And I was telling my mentee this story, that when I was trying to sidestep into it, I actually went for an interview somewhere where I thought it was a child and family center, only to find out it was a locality team, a long-term social services team within a child and family center. And I went for a regular social work job, but they offered me the senior role because the manager really liked me, and she kept asking me, please, won't you reconsider, work with us? We'd really love to have you be such assets team. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I don't want it. I was really turned off. I did not want it because I had made up in my mind. I was clear what I wanted, why I wanted it, and what I needed. And so I was really like, it doesn't matter how much money you throw at me. It doesn't matter that you're offering me a post that's pay grade above and, above what I even applied for. That is not going to sway me. I knew what I needed. And so it's a similar thing. I say this to say that if you are so sure and you know where you're at, you may need to think about sidestepping into another role. So, for example, some of you have had previous lives in another role within the industry. So you may have, and I don't mean like doing fostering, or I'm talking about like really sidestepping. I say the industry is in health and social care. So you may think about becoming a manager for a children's home, or a manager for a private company that is a nursery or has a chain of nurseries. Or you may decide you want to be an admin officer for somewhere like that, or something that is related, or it may even be unrelated. Your previous job may have been in IT and you liked that quite fine, and that may be something you want to go back to because you were very experienced in it, and that may be something you want to go back to, as long as you are not taking a dip in your pay, or if you have to take a dip in your pay, your partner is able to supplement what the deficit may be to give you that reprieve while you work on the other part of your plan to actually completely exit, move into independence, or do something else. And while you're implementing the other income generating streams that I mentioned on my other live stream. So all of these things, understand, fit together. It's usually not going to be just one or the other. You want to really do something together that's going to allow you to take the time off if you cannot afford to do that. Okay, this has to be something that's a very strategic plan. And I want, for those of you that are watching this, that know that you're feeling really stressed already, don't leave it to a stage where you're going to be burnt out, where you really have to just like now for now take the time off, or take the time off sick, or say that you're going to take like a week off of toil that you're probably owed and more, like, because you know that when you come back there's going to be like a pile of work for you. You want to do this strategically, and do it very clearly and in a way that is methodical and that's going to work for you, and that won't also harm the service. Because when people just go off sick, you'll know that you then have to pick up the slack. And so it makes it easier for the team if you can kind of manage things in a way that is going to work first and foremost for you, but also for your team. So that's one element. You may want to move into a role where you're kind of not case managing. Some of this may be negotiating also with your manager and with your colleagues, because nobody is going to want a social worker who just goes off sick. So it's going to be in their best interest to be able to work with you and think about how the pressure can be reduced for you as a workforce, as a team, and for you in particular, so that you can actually fulfill your role. Some that may be working from home. Yeah, so think about all the different nuances and ways in which you can make it work for you that will be helpful for you, and you can even put that forward to negotiate. The other thing, in terms of being able to afford to take time off, and while this isn't necessarily related to finances, I do want to speak on it because I think this is a huge thing, and one of the biggest things, along with boundaries, that kind of links into what part of what I was just mentioning about negotiating for yourself and advocating for yourself with your manager, is like self-care and emotional regulation and emotional resilience. You've been able to build that and do those things for yourself, ensuring that your self-care practices are in the morning and in the evening, so you're not feeling resentful that all you're doing is giving yourself to work. And part of that means you have to have boundaries. You have to be able to say, I'm contracted to work up to a certain time and no more. And if I am going to go over that, then it will fit within the amount of time I'm allowed to take for toil every month, And again, if it goes over that, be willing to negotiate that you are paid for that time, or your contract needs to change, because usually it's not a one-off, right? It's usually over a sustained period. And it's particularly true if you're working in a borough where there are some structural changes going on or big things happening that are causing some major changes within the team or the structure within the department of social services to be made. And so it's important that you are really, really able to look at that and be able to advocate for yourself and take on self-care. Some of these things that I've shared with you are preventative, so that you're actually not getting burnt out to a point where you need to take the time off. But if you do need to take the time off, you've got the tools of being able to negotiate what you want with your manager. That's going to work better for you, so you don't have to take too many days off or days off at all. If you're in that space where you're kind of not quite on the edge of the cliff. But if you are near the edge of the cliff or on the edge of the cliff, then don't be afraid to say, I need to take some time off sick. But make sure that you are putting into plan prior to that your income generating activity, thinking about how you can sidestep, because it's not going to be sustainable to continually go off sick, then kind of go on and feel the brunt of the stress because you're having to take on everything that you had left to go off sick, and then having to catch up with everything. So, it's going to be kind of backwards and forwards. And so you want to be realistic and think about just sidestepping into something else. And sometimes that may be for a short period of time. It may be for a much longer period of time. And that might give you some reprieve to actually be starting to work on independence. If social work is something that is a huge passion of yours and you had particular dreams that you want to fulfill, it is still possible to do that. Your plan and your goal may change, but the destination is always going to be the same. And so I just want to encourage you with that. And I hope that that was helpful. It felt like a bit of a mishmash of stuff. But essentially, what I've given you is some elements where you're preventing getting to a place of burnout. And some of those overlap into actually managing when you are in burnout. And some of them are clearly just what to do right now if you cannot afford to take time off. There are things that you're able to do from a financial point of view, but there are things that you can do with being able to negotiate ways in which that you can better manage, so it doesn't damage the service, and so that you're still being fulfilled and getting what you need and what you want. So I hope that was helpful. If this is something I'm really skimming the surface in all of these, especially in terms of the finances. I am thinking about doing a whole separate live stream on that. You can let me know in the comments if that is something that you would like. I have got a masterclass, a 2-day masterclass coming up where I've collaborated with a wealth management company within the UK, and we're actually going to be delivering over 2 days, in this workshop, a number of areas around finances. So from money management to preparing and planning and managing in an inflation, what to do, banking, mortgages, investments, pension, like you name it. And there are going to be nuances as far as for social workers, when you're working with clients, what support and advice can you help them with, and what can you take on for yourself? If you are a fiance or if you are divorcing, what should you be doing with your money, making sure your future is secured, and the different ways to do that, looking at business and different income streams, understanding tax and year end and pension. So for people who are semi-independent, or maybe just set up your independent business, and these are some of the questions that you have, you might be kind of flailing a bit and struggling and unsure. All of those kind of things are going to be covered and more. So investments, wealth management, all that stuff. And so there is a fee attached. And right now we've got the early bird price, I think is like £15. And it's going to go up after the 30th of September, and then it will go up again to the full price. So I encourage you to get in on it now, and put in place these things that I've mentioned. If you've got any questions about any of the things that I've said, or you want a bit more clarity on them, just put it in the comments and I will respond to you. You could DM me. Sometimes, most of the time, people DM me, to be honest, than comment, because I think I get the sense that social workers want that anonymity, and that's absolutely fine. So I will reach out to you and respond in the DMs. But yeah, if you're wanting assistance and support to continue on or start the journey of becoming fully independent, and you would just like some support in that and knowing how to do this, this is the kind of things that I will cover in the program, so that you are assisted on any part of your journey to go towards being fully independent. Then just DM me the word launcher and we can jump on a call and let's have a conversation. To those of you that have already reached out, I am messaging, I'm responding and getting back to you, and we will be having conversations. So I will speak with you very soon. I'm back again on Tuesday at 6 p.m. I will try to make sure it's at 6 p.m. I came in quite a bit later today, but I'm in a different time zone to where we are in the UK usually, but sticking to the trying to stick to the time. So in any event, I will see you very soon. Thank you for your listening ear. Bye for now.